The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody. This is Jim McDaniel with URL Insurance Group. I'm the Marketing and Technology Director here at URL, and I'll be kind of manning the controls for our COVID-19 insurance news update. This is the first edition of our insurance COVID-19 news. And as we all know, insurance is an essential business. We hold these webinars to update you weekly with important industry news. These webinars will also serve as a place to answer any questions that you may have. As we go through the webinar today, there's a questions panel there on your GoToMeeting panel bar where you can send us questions over. We'll read all of them aloud at the end of the webinar, and our experts will be able to answer your questions. If you haven't been to our homepage recently of our site, you can see this page peel here at the top. It's a link where you can get to our COVID-19 insurance industry news page. We'll be archiving a lot of different content here, the webinars that we hold, various resources, some of them that we'll be talking about today on this webinar, and links to the other newsletters that we put out from various departments. You may also notice a resources tab on your GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar control panel that has 5 different PDFs that you can download. Those will be referenced throughout this presentation today, and you can download them as we go through this session. At the end of the webinar, you'll have the opportunity to submit some feedback to us of maybe some information that you'd like to hear on the next webinar that we'll hold next Friday, or any other kind of content or questions that you may have. Okay, so we'll get it started here. So on the call with us today from the Annuities Solutions Department, we have our Senior Vice President, Joe Corio. From the Health Plan Options Division, Deb Wilkinson and Thomas Purcell. From Life Markets, we have Steve Clemens and Matt Alina. And on the Medicare offering side, we have Karen McDaniel. All right, to get us started, we got Joe up here first from Annuities Solutions.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking some time to be on our webinar this morning, and I hope everybody is well and doing what they need to do to survive this crucial time in our nation's history. You know, my team and I have been reaching out to a lot of the annuity and single premium life agents just to get a feel for how they're handling their business, what they're looking to do going forward. You know, it's been a couple weeks here where we're kind of disrupted our normal business, but as you look ahead, we don't know how long this is going to last. It might last another month, it might last 2 months, 3 months, who knows? So we have to get ready for the new world of virtual sales, and that's what this webinar and our weekly webinars will be all about. So in reaching out to the agents, we have taken all the information that we received and looked at the feedback that we got from them. And one of the main questions is, how am I supposed to meet people? You know, a lot of people, they just don't want to meet face to face. Well, I have 2 main takebacks here from all our research that we've done. The first thing is, just because people don't want to meet face to face, that doesn't mean that they don't want to meet you. Okay, especially in the annuity business, we're dealing with a lot of seniors, and they're a little reluctant to have people come into their home at this point. And actually, in some states, such as Pennsylvania, you can't go to their home. So but that doesn't mean they don't want to do business, where they don't want to hear what you have to say. So virtual sales is the way you need to be looking towards the future. The other takeaway I came away with after reviewing all the information is, you know, when you think about your sales the way they used to be, what was one of the biggest problems you had in reaching out to people? Well, that problem was, how far do I want to travel to see a person? You know, the annuity business sometimes takes 2 or 3 calls, and it might cover 2 to 3 months, who knows, from the beginning of the sales process to when the case is placed and paid. But when you think about it, using virtual sales eliminates the problem of being limited on geography. In other words, we used to debate with ourselves, how far do I want to drive to make that sale? An hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half? Is that kind of pushing it if I have to make 2 or 3 calls? Well, now with virtual sales, it opens up the availability, and geography is no longer a problem. So even after this situation passes, I think virtual sales will be here to stay, because it's going to expand your geography, expand your territory, and the range of people that you can work with going forward. Now, I am not an IT expert by any means, but Jim McDaniel and his team of gurus have all the tools that you need, whether you want to do a one-on-one meeting, a meeting of 3 to 5, or a full-fledged meeting of 100 people. Can accommodate and help you get that set up. I do know that a lot of the agents I have talked to so far are using Skype as a web video category. And the reason is most of them have Office 365 already, and Skype is included for free. So they've been doing that, and they've been very successful. Now, as far as specific companies, you can see on your screen the companies that we have on the left that are using virtual sales, and most of them have agreed to allow agents to work virtually. That means you don't have to see them face to face, and most of them have some kind of electronic signature that you can use. So technically, you could start the sales process from beginning to end and never meet the person one-on-one. Now, sometimes when you're dealing in the annuity business and you're talking about $250,000 or $300,000 or $400,000, it's going to be pretty hard to close the entire sale process virtually. But as I said earlier, the annuity business sometimes takes multiple sales calls and multiple months to conclude a sale. So rather than wait till maybe June or July or August to start revving up your sales, if you do that, it'll be September, October, or November before the case is closed. So don't let things dry up. Do the initial presentations virtually, and then when you'll have to set appointments to close them down the road. But at least you'll have something in the hopper, and you'll have some activity. Now, you can see on the right-hand side of this screen here, we list the companies, and each one has a link. And on the handouts to the webinar, you can actually pull that down, and you will be able to link to the specific company you're interested in, and it will outline all the rules that they have, all the opportunities that they have to do virtual sales. If you can't do it from the handout, we sent out an email on March 25th. It came out from Maria Adams. You can search for that email, and if you don't have it, you can reach out to either myself or Maria, and we'll be glad to resend that email to you so you can link to the specific companies. That's all I have for you today. We're here normal business hours. Just call us, email us, whatever, and we'll be glad to help you get ready for your next appointment. Thank you, and right now I'd like to turn it over to Deb Wilkinson.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining in. For our segment of this presentation, both mine and Thomas's, I think what we're going to focus on for this session is really the nuts and bolts of these laws, both the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, pardon me, as well as the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, better known as CARES. So again, we're going to review kind of the nuts and bolts because this law or these laws, these stimulus packages really are listed by the employers and the people they employ, the employees. So that's where the most effect is. So let's kind of get into the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, better known as the FFCRA. One of the things that is definitely a positive for everybody that is getting tested, all of the health insurers have to cover that testing at 100%. There's no cost to the employees. In fact, many insurers have even been waiving deductibles and co-insurance for in-network, in-hospital stays. So they've really responded well from an employee's perspective. If you do suspect that you have the disease, or your employees do, or your clients' employees do. Many insurers are offering the low-cost or zero-cost telemedicine, and they're actually pushing for it. Obviously, in this environment, that's very important. And again, the nuts and bolts of this FFCRA is the emergency sick leave for employees of employers with fewer than 500 employees, and the expanded COVID-19 FMLA for businesses with fewer than 500 employees. That's a huge change from FMLA right now, so employers are really kind of looking for some guidance. And then, of course, the refundable payroll tax for the portion of the payroll that is paid to the employees through these features. So let's just quickly jump into the emergency sick leave. You want to advance the screen, please? There we go. So the emergency sick leave, again, is for employers of less than 500. And essentially, if you're sick, if your employees are sick, then they're eligible for these this benefit. You know, if you're subject to the local quarantine, if you have been advised to self-quarantine, or you're experiencing symptoms or seeking medical advice. So the nuts and bolts of that and what is required by an employer, go ahead and advance the screen, please, is that 80 hours, if you have a full-time employee, 80 hours of up to 511 per day has to be paid to the employees, totaling 5110. And then part-timers are also eligible for this benefit, and they average the hours over a 2-week period that they normally would have worked, still the same caps. So as you can imagine, this is something that employers have not experienced before, but are now subject to, and that you know, comes with some funds that the employers have to pay. As far as the emergency family medical leave, this is something, again, that is new. Employees have to be employed for 30 calendar days or more. This portion is if you can't work, and then it applies. So if you're caring for an individual who's subject to a federal, state, or local quarantine, caring for a son or daughter, and school is closed, that appears to be all of us, and experiencing any other substantially similar condition to be defined by HHS. So if any of those apply, again, you can't work, then the emergency family leave takes place, and that is 12 weeks of job protective leave for the qualifying need related to the public health emergency. The first 10 days are unpaid. You still only get 12 weeks. And that rate of pay is 2/3 the regular rate of pay. That's capped at $200 a day and capped at $12,000. And again, the part-timers are you know, averaged over you know, what they normally would work in a 40-hour week period. So again, they're also eligible. Jobs have to be held, except if you are an employer of less than 25. So pretty dynamic change to what employers are required to do, but there is some hope. Thomas is going to talk to you a little bit about some of the exemptions from the FFCRA and also on the CARES Act. So I'll turn the screen over to Thomas right now, and I'll be here at the end to answer questions as well.
Oh, thanks everyone. Thanks, Deb. Happy Friday. So the rights notice, as Deb mentioned, this must be posted in a conspicuous place in the office, like a break room or lunchroom, somewhere that all of your employees will see it. Obviously, in this time when most people are working remotely or not working, it can be distributed via email, electronically, or if you're using one of the benefit admin systems URL offers, you can post it in there for your employees as well. This was supposed to be distributed April 1st, so if it has not been distributed yet, we encourage you to do so. I know I have sent out an email with the notice and a link for frequently asked questions, and I believe Deb has as well. But if you need that, just reach out to one of us, and we're happy to send that out to you. So the exemptions to the Emergency Sick Leave and Emergency Family Medical Leave Expansion Act. Essentially, the exemption is going to apply if you are an employer with less than 50 employees, and the expanded ESL and EFMLA would jeopardize the viability of your small business. So we recommend that that's put in writing by an officer of the company, but there isn't a waiver process for this that you need to apply for an exemption. So to get a little bit into the specifics, a little bit more on how that exemption will apply. Again, it's essentially saying if it's going to jeopardize the viability of your business running, whether that be the small business expenses and financial obligations exceed your available revenue, and it causes you to cease operations at a minimum capacity. The workers who are able and willing to work to perform the services that needed, they're requesting the paid sick leave or expanded family medical leave. So those are just a few examples of how this exemption would apply, but essentially if you're under 50 employees and the viability of your business is in jeopardy. So I kind of reiterated here what I already said on that last slide, where you're going to have fewer than employees. There's no waiver requirement where you have to apply. This is automatically going to be in place if you choose to do so. We just recommend that an officer of the company puts this into writing if it's ever questioned. So moving on to the CARES Act. This is a good news, long time coming in these trying times for small business owners. This was signed into law on March 27th. It is a $2 trillion stimulus package that's going to directly be impacting individuals and small business owners. Individuals are going to be receiving cash payments from the government. It is scaled based off of your individual or household income, but essentially employees or individuals can receive up to $1,200 if they make up to $75,000 per year, or for joint filers, $150 and $500 for each child. They're also expanding the unemployment compensation payments. There's no caps at this time, but they're saying up to $600 a week in the additional unemployment compensation payments will be available. There's also a big thing for our small business owners is the eligibility for emergency grants, existing loans, and then forgivable loans. So we're still reading through the details on that, but a lot of good news there. So the CARES Act also covers a lot of expansions. They're going to expand HSA, FSA, and HRA guidelines, where it's not going to affect your prescriptions, over-the-counter meds, or the telemedicine or low-cost telemedicine not affecting your HSA qualified plan. There's funding that's included for struggling industries, such as the airline industry. And they're funding other industries such as the education, public transport, those industries that are in dire need of funding right now. And like I mentioned, this was just signed into law on March 27th, so it's very, the devil's in the details, as they would say, so we're still reading through that. But that's what I have for you today. Again, me and Deb are here at your disposal for questions. It's a lot for a small business owner to sort through. So we're here as a resource, not only with the compliance, but with the technology solutions. So with that, I'll hand it over to Steve and Matt from the Life Department.
Great. Thank you, Thomas. This is Steve Clemens, Vice President of Life Markets. Thank you for being on the call today and the webinar. Do truly appreciate it on this Friday. The goals of this, the goals I've kind of set for this meeting every Friday are going to be to provide everybody some marketing ideas as well as carrier updates as what's going on in the life markets area as it pertains to your business. The marketing ideas, if anyone was on our life markets call last week, it's a little bit of a review from last week's marketing ideas, but each Friday we're going to have some fresh content that will keep you active and productive with your clients to give you some opportunities in the life markets area. Before I do get started, I do want to remind everybody that on the panel, we do have handouts for you. So please download those and take a look at those. And before I get into the presentation, we have handouts for our life policy review agent guide from the life markets area, a needs analysis sheet that will go along with today's presentation. We also have our carrier updates and links that you can click and link to some of the relevant information we're covering today from life markets. So please download that. And we have our phone and email list for URL with our most recent contact information. And that's very important if you don't have that updated list, because it does have our direct phone lines. As most of us are, working virtually from our home offices, that way you can dial someone directly. You can dial my line direct without having to go to the toll-free number and put the extension in and everything else. So take a look at that, download that, and as well, Joe Corio has his virtual sales information from the annuity department. So take a look at those handouts and download those that are relevant to you. And before getting started, Joe kind of mentioned something that I thought was interesting with virtual sales and adapting to virtual sales. That's nothing new to us at URL, and Joe knows that specifically. We at URL on the life markets area piloted one of the biggest and largest term life carriers' virtual sales applications when they first got into that business. It was Zurich Kemper Life. Or actually at the time Kemper. They pioneered a application process in the mid-90s called Telelife. And URL Insurance Group, at the time URL Financial Group, was the first organization, BGA, MGA, to pilot that program. So for URL, virtual sales and doing business over the phone and connecting with our clients that way, there's nothing new there. So we're here to help by department in each of our departments to help you with that business. If that's new to you, we're going to help you do that. Okay, so let's get going into this presentation. Let's start with our carrier updates, carriers and underwriting. Business is processing as usual, with our partner companies and URL Insurance Group. So as you send in your applications, whether it's e-applications or paper applications, we're still processing that business as usual. You reach out to your case manager on the life insurance side, Rosemary Evans or Rachel Patton, via email or phone call, and they're getting that information in and out the door for you. So that's the good news. More good news is there's some relaxed accelerated underwriting programs out there right now. So accelerated underwriting programs, for those of you who do not know, many companies that require a Paramedic Exam have an accelerated underwriting program, usually from about $100,000 to $1 million, where they're going to do a bunch of background checks before ordering that Paramed on the client, and they'll look at your medical information bureau, they'll look at your prescription drug history, your driving history, and then Nexus, Lexus, kind of what we call like black box underwriting, all these things like credit scores and all this compiled information they take. For those in the casualty, property and casualty markets, you're probably more familiar than with that type of underwriting as compared to us in the life or annuity type arenas. But what companies have done is they've relaxed those requirements where it was very difficult to get somebody through without that Paramedic Exam pre-COVID-19. Now we're having companies say, hey, we're going to relax these requirements so we can get more people insured without a Paramedic Exam. American National just came out this week and said we're increasing our accelerated underwriting, approvals by 50%. So again, that's up to $1 million of coverage without an exam. Same thing with Pacific Life. They're now going up to age 60, $1 million, and they're saying if we don't need to order a Paramedic exam, we're not going to order it. So these are some really exciting times. This has pushed the life insurance industry ahead a little bit, and that's a good thing for our clients. On the back end, when a policy is issued, most companies are now having an extra delivery requirement, a good health statement, and that's pretty common with what's going on. And if a client is tested positive with coronavirus, COVID-19, they're postponing those issues for clients who test positive or experiencing symptoms or of COVID-19 or had recent travel to affected areas or planned travel. Generally, it's a 30-day period of time with a clean bill of health, and they're issuing those policies. Okay, moving on. Next screen, please. Okay, paramed vendors. Conducting exams in most areas. So although we cannot go meet with our clients in Pennsylvania and other areas where they're stay in place, we cannot have those physical one-on-one face-to-face meetings. Paramed vendors are still conducting paramed exams. On the handout that we have for the life insurance updates, we have links to 3 of the most used paramed vendors where you can get real-time information on are they doing paramed exams in your area. And as of getting this information together yesterday, those vendors are still conducting paramed exams in Pennsylvania. So they are modifying their scripts prior to going out to those examinations. So essentially, they're asking the questions: are you exhibiting any kind of symptoms that would suggest you have COVID-19 or had traveled recently? If they are, they're pushing back 2 weeks for that examination. So that's typical out there right now with the paramed vendors. We can go to the next screen. We have many companies, and we have many companies now that are non-med underwriting as well. So although companies are conducting paramed exams, Joe mentioned, many clients may be apprehensive about letting somebody into their home. They don't know if that nurse has COVID-19 or symptoms of that, and they just don't want anyone in their home. So if your clients want to get life insurance and they don't want to go through the examination process, we have multiple companies that can provide your client life insurance with no paramed examination. Here's a highlight of a few of our carriers that do this: American National, Emeritus, Assurity, Cincinnati, Pacific Life, SBLI, Transamerica. On the term front, Assurity and SBLI up to $500,000 never require a paramed exam, and they do offer best class, preferred best, super preferred underwriting through standard with that. So that's really good news. They've been doing that for a long time. Both have e-applications. You can do an e-application on our website. You can do a paper application as well if you prefer, and do the snail mail thing. But I would highly recommend doing the e-application for those processes. And SBLI has an e-delivery as well. So as soon as that policy is issued, it is e-delivered into your client's email, and they could have that policy issued and placed within minutes of getting that policy, instead of waiting for a physical piece of mail to go out to you, the agent, and then you packaging it, mailing to your client, and then you getting it back and sending it to the company. That takes days or weeks. So to have an e-delivery process like SBLI has, like Pacific Life has, those are tremendous things you can take advantage of. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so at URL, talking about virtual sales and social distancing, are eTools on the life side. So when you go onto URL's website and go into our Aries Insurance Agent Services area, go under Departments and then Life Markets. You have our quoting tools. Our website is obviously available 24/7. When we're closed, you can still get term life quotes. You can still get guaranteed universal life quotes. You can still get final expense quotes right there. You can do e-applications there 24/7. So you can go right from the quote to the e-application and get that done. We also have what we use on our life markets team for illustrations, for full universal life, whole life, term illustrations, index universal life illustrations. We use a program called WinFlex Web. The web address is there, www.winflexweb.com. It is free to use. There's no cost to you. And all you have to do is register, choose URL as your BGA, MGA, and we will get notification and we can sign off for you to be an active user of WinFlex Web. As soon as we do, you have full access to all the companies we represent in WinFlex Web for full illustrations. And if you are uncomfortable with our website, running term quotes, guaranteed universal life quotes, final expense quotes, getting forms, doing e-applications, or if you're new to WinFlex and want to use that, you want to contact Joey Fry on our Life Markets team and schedule a time where you can spend 15 minutes to a half hour going through that with Joey. He'll be happy to schedule time with you. His extension is there. His email is right there for you. And if you download the handout with our contact list, obviously you'll have his direct line as well. And he'll be happy to schedule time and do a one-on-one meeting to get you more familiar with our e-marketing tools at URL. Okay, and one of the last things I wanted to provide you is obviously a marketing tool, something to keep you active and productive during this time. And for those of you who have life insurance clients, if you're not doing this, and I mentioned this last week in our presentation, if you're not doing a policy review, a checkup with your clients, it's something you should start doing. Our most successful agents and brokers, and LIMRA studies show the most successful agents and brokers in the industry are doing policy reviews and checkups for their clients. And you may say, Steve, I don't have a lot of life clients. I'm an annuity agent, or I do property and casualty, or group employee benefits, or health insurance, or Medicare. Well, you still have clients, and those clients most likely have a life insurance policy. You can still do a policy review of their existing policy, whether you wrote it or not. We're providing the tools. We have the agent guide that you can use as the handout on this presentation. We also have a policy review script that we will be sending to each and every one of you on this presentation to give you at least an idea of what to say if this is new to you, how to start that conversation, and what to say, and the challenges that you may have, and some objections you may have to that, and how to handle those. So please look at that. Policy review is a easy thing to do with your clients. And the best thing is you're servicing your clients, you're finding out more about their life insurance, who their beneficiary is. It's one of the most important things, how it's set up. And the best thing you're going to do is give your clients peace of mind that either one, they're well protected now, or two, that you've uncovered a new opportunity. Maybe they have too much coverage or too little coverage and they need something else. You can help them provide that. So by conducting a simple policy review or checkup, I always like to say, we go to the dentist twice a year, we get our oil changed in our car, we get a checkup with our doctor. Why are we not doing a checkup with our existing life insurance clients and our insurance clients? Easy to do, and it's a complimentary service that costs them nothing and just costs you a little time and FaceTime or phone time with your clients, and just providing a little higher level of service, a little white glove service for your clients, where you are going to where you're going to present yourself in a very professional way, and your clients will thank you for it. And moving on, I'm going to hand this over to my counterpart in the life markets area, Matt Alina, who is our final expense manager. And Matt, you can take it over from here. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. As we're talking about all of these different sales ideas and sales tools, I kind of want to piggyback on what Steve was saying about doing some policy review, policy checkup. But we're also talking about being compliant in this really kind of a strange environment where if you're in Pennsylvania or some of these other states that are being affected by COVID-19, you're not able to see the client face to face. You're not able to make house calls or in-home appointments. I did talk to a few agents this week that were in in-house appointments. Please, please, please be careful. The Department of Insurance is not messing around. If you are caught, you could lose your license as well as incur fines and stuff like that. So please check with your local government to make sure what you can and cannot do. While insurance is a life essential business, the way that we conduct business is being changed slightly. So to be compliant on final expense, the compliant selling method is doing telesales. And we have several carriers that participate in telesales. If you can go to the next slide, please. So you'll see that we have electronic app submissions as well as phone app submissions. When you're dealing with senior clients, these are people that are older clients, maybe for your Medicare agents, it's your Medicare clients. You're dealing with people that may be a little technologically behind, where they won't be able to do the electronic application, and that is okay. We do have a phone application submission system as well. Some of these carriers do have some different nuances to it. I do want to invite everybody. I know that we have it on our website, but if you're looking for a way to do social distance selling, aka phone applications, virtual sales, please join me and Steve Monday, April 13th, as we're going to give you the keys to social distance selling. It'll be a webinar. So we'll go over some of these different carriers and the different nuances and how to present life insurance final expense over the phone. Next slide, please. So I want to give you some prospecting tools and resources. One of the things is contacting existing clients, piggybacking off of what Steve had said. You'll find that most of our clients are home. So now is the time to really kind of give them the time, check in on them, give them some of your time. If there's anything that we have right now in terms of resources, it is time because we're kind of all homebound. It's an opportunity for you to get to know your clients a little bit better, review their coverages, and listen to what they have to say. A lot of times they're going to say things that are going to open up the door to something that you're already selling or could sell, where you may see a need or hear a need and you can meet a need. And this is also an opportunity for you to cross-sell, especially for annuity agents and Medicare agents. This is an opportunity. Some of your clients have lost money here in the last few weeks with the stock market. They've taken a major hit on their retirement savings. Life insurance and final expense insurance is a great way to make up the difference of their losses fast. And with final expense insurance, there are no medical exams. There are no medical records that need to be given. So if you're looking for a way to get your clients coverage fast, final expense is a great way to do that. If you, as an agent, you're looking for quick cash flow, final expense is also a way to inject some cash into your bank account quickly. These policies are typically issued in 5 days or less. Some companies will actually give you an underwriting decision at the point of sale. and usually within 24 to 48 hours after that, you will see that you'll have commission in your bank account. Also, another thing, when you're talking to your clients, they may already have existing coverage with you, final expense coverage or life insurance. A lot of people may be experiencing some financial hardships. The insurance carriers are asking that clients contact the carrier direct, explain the hardship. A lot of the carriers are looking at working with your clients to figure out a financial solution so that they just don't drop policies. So that's another thing to point out when you're talking to people. If they're having some serious financial setbacks right now, and they're going to tell you that, oh, I'm probably going to let my policy lapse, have them, or you can call the carrier on your behalf or on their behalf and ask them about any kind of workaround, any kind of grace periods, anything like that. Carriers do not want people to drop coverage, especially in these weird times, these unprecedented times. If you are looking for new prospects, URL Insurance Group has had a final expense lead program for several years now, and those leads would include teleleads, direct mail leads, and social media leads. These leads are exclusive, and something that we have been doing for several years as well is we have been subsidizing your lead costs. We take a look at your production each month, and we notify you of what you earn. For our Gemini partners on the call, for every $1,000 of annualized final expense premium that you place each month, we give you $80. For our standard agents that work with us that are non-Gemini, we didn't forget about you. We give you $50 for every $1,000 of annualized premium, final expense premium placed each month. So we're here to help you. We have a bunch of different tools and resources to help you grow your business and help you not only survive, but also thrive. So thank you very much for the partnership. Next slide, please. For those of you who are interested in looking into final expense coverage, we do have an online quoting system. Steve already kind of alluded to that in an earlier slide. I do have phone sales scripts available to you. I have agent sales guides, and we do have these turnkey marketing resources that can help you circle back with your clients. Maybe they have different coverages, whether it's an annuity or Medicare or something else. I do have some turnkey marketing resources like letters and things like that that you can use to copy, paste onto your own letterhead or put it into an email and send it out to your clients to help you with cross-selling. So again, thank you very much for your partnership. And next I'll turn that over to Karen McDaniel.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I will wrap everything up with the Medicare offerings update. I'll be a brief one. Next slide, Jim, please. Can you forward the slide? So the next slide is going to be, the main theme of the webinar, I think, has been how do I meet with my clients and enroll them if I can't meet with them face-to-face. We have been fortunate in the Medicare field to already have a lot of carriers embrace online enrollment. And URL actually purchased a platform last year that we launched right before the AEP. It's our Medicare Now platform. And it has the ability to enroll MAPDs and prescription drug plans. Now, not every carrier is on there. It's up to the subject of the carriers whether or not they want to be on the platform. But we do have a lot of carriers on there that are the most popular plans in Pennsylvania, and then a couple of the national plans as well. A lot of the carriers already have their own online site, iPad app to do the enrollments, and you'll see the list of the carriers there. Some of these they have launched specifically for the COVID crisis, but a lot of them had already been in existence. So a lot of our agents have been familiar with it. And, as Matt had said, the senior population, there are a lot of people who don't understand technology, don't want to embrace it. they're more comfortable with the face-to-face or, you know, just doing a paper application. But, you know, as the people who are aging into Medicare, they've been in front of a computer for, you know, 15, 20 years. So they're more comfortable with it. So I think as the Medicare world goes on, we're going to see a lot more of these online applications. Next slide. Also another way to enroll is telephonically. A lot of the carriers have just released this for the COVID. I know Capital, Geisinger, Highmark, and Aetna, and Cigna have only released this for this time frame. Whether or not they'll continue with it, I don't know. That remains to be seen. And another way that you can do it is through the mail. We've always had the capability of doing that. You can do the appointment as long as you get the scope of appointment signed first over the phone, mail the client the application, just highlight on the application where they need to complete it, remove the carrier envelope from the packet, replace it with a self-addressed stamped envelope with your address. They mail it back to you, you sign it, you fill out your national producer number or your routing number, and you submit it to the carriers. Carriers are still accepting paper applications via fax. Next slide. Another thing that we received from two of the carriers was that they thought that there was a special election period for COVID, and it turned out that that was not true. So they did release retractions for that. So if you have any clients that are calling you saying, you know, oh, I thought I can make a change to my Medicare plan because of this pandemic, that's not true. Disregard any kind of notification that you may have received about that. They did, like I said, they did send a retraction out. So if you didn't see those, this is your official notification that there is no SEP for COVID. Next slide. A couple of the carriers for Medicare have granted waivers for COVID-related treatments. Every day we get a new one. Yesterday was Highmark was the newest carrier that was granting any kind of cost-sharing responsibilities for COVID-related treatment and or testing. So I would assume that we're going to be seeing more and more carriers adopting this. And I think my final slide is next. So Social Security offices are closed. Part B applications have always been processed by mail. That is no different. I would have thought that they would have embraced doing the online enrollment, but they have not as of yet. What we have been hearing from the local offices is that mail is still being delivered. They are sending one person into the office to pick it up, to process it, and that is how Part B applications are being processed. There could be a delay, so if your clients are waiting to enroll into Part B, I would encourage them to maybe start the process a little earlier than they would have normally, just to get it in place for when they actually need it. And the Social Security Administration actually does have a really good webpage with more frequently asked questions about the coronavirus. And that's it for me. So I will end it and turn it back over to Jim. And if we have any questions, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And I hope everybody stays safe.
Okay, thanks everybody. We did have one question that came across. Sean had asked for one of the sales scripts, Matt, that you had mentioned, so I'll forward his information over and you can get it to him. It doesn't look like really many other questions had come across. I think that was it. If anybody has anything, feel free to send it over. Otherwise, we will be back here next Friday at 10 a.m. the same time. And at the end of this webinar, as I mentioned, there'll be a quick survey that you can fill out if you have any feedback for us, content you'd like to see next week. A lot of the stuff we mentioned is available in our various newsletters that go out. Our COVID-19 weekly newsletter went out this morning. It has a lot of this in it. And then also from our homepage, you can access this content on our COVID-19 insurance news webpage. So that looks like it. That's all we have. Thank you for your time, everybody, today. Really appreciate it. Stay safe, stay healthy. And we look forward to hearing from you and seeing you on next week. Thanks. Have a great day.